This is Joshua Hart here, 4 seconds out. Delighted to be joined by Gareth A Davies here today. Gareth, really appreciate your time. Ooh,
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm
and
listening. I'm just
how is everything, Gareth? How are you?
everything. I'm just getting service here at Heathrow at the moment. Yeah, about to head to America in an hour or two to do bare knuckle boxing 39. And Jack Marshman, the former UFC fighter from Wales, is main eventing against Cub Hawkins for the BKB bare knuckle boxing extreme cruiserweight title. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm also doing comms. I'm doing the broadcast team with Mike Goldberg for the first time. You know, Mike Goldberg of UFC fame. Just like that. Coming up next. So I'll be doing that with Mike, and really looking forward to covering Jack's fight. And believe it or not, the bare knuckle event is streamed on the Talksport boxing YouTube channel on live on Friday night as well. So that's how I am. How are you? Getting ready for your driving test. You better not have cut out that bit earlier on because I want that all in there.
It will be in the video, Gareth. Don't you worry. We're ready for the driving test. We're nice and ready.
I know you. You're brilliant at what you do already, and I intend to mentor you like Colin Hart mentored me for many years.
I appreciate
Many
that
years.
very much,
Yeah,
Gareth.
yeah.
I
You're
do
very
really appreciate
welcome.
that.
Well, so we're becoming a regular show, aren't we?
We are here very often, and a lot to talk about this week as well. Especially in the heavyweight division, we're starting to see a lot of movement. We'll start off by looking that IBF have given Daniel Dubois a mandatory challenger now in Derek Chisora. When you first saw the news, what was your reaction to seeing that?
It's the last person I want Derek to step in with, frankly. I'd rather see him fight Alexander Usyk because I think Dubois is a horrible fight for him. Speed, youth, tenacity, and power. And I think those are the things that I don't want to see Derek up against right now at this stage in his career. Um, I I'm not surprised he got the nod. Imagine, and I've said this to a couple of other people, Josh. Imagine if, um, imagine if Anthony Joshua had just beaten Otto Wallin and Joe Joyce, knocked down Joe Joyce, and stopped Otto Wallin and beaten him up. People would be saying he should be getting a world title shot. So it doesn't surprise me that Derek is in the frame in that way. But I just don't want him to fight Daniel Dubois, I'm afraid. I just don't like it for him. He fears no one. And, I've got the thing. I haven't agreed to it, but he has said, of course, or he's tried to get me to shave my head if he becomes a world champion. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I've turned it on its head, so to speak. And on Saturday night, he came on live on Talk Sports on Fight Night, and he told us from the Usher, or he told me from the Usher concert. I said, look, forget the shaving of the head. Let's do dreadlocks instead. I'll get mine into dreadlocks and you can grow dreadlocks. It's a much better solution to me having my head shaved.
Well, sounds like a very interesting bet you got there with Derek Chisora. Just a few more on it. We've seen Frank Warren speak a lot
What do
about.
you think? What do you think about my opinion about Daniel Dubois, him not fighting Daniel Dubois?
Do you know what? I said the exact same thing on Seconds Out Live yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, I said I'd much rather see Chisora go in there with Usyk because I
Yeah.
feel while Usyk would be a trickier puzzle, we've seen them share 12 rounds before and he had success in those 12 rounds. Um, and Dubois is just we know that eventually, early or late, he will land that straight right. So, and it's
Or
not
the
really what
left
you want to
hook,
see at
the
his age.
fast jab, and I can see Derek beaten up and knocked out within 5 or 6. I'd
Yeah.
much prefer him fighting Alexander Usyk and maybe Parker and Dubois fighting each other.
Yeah.
Meritocratically, I'd like to see that. Um, I just think, I still think the chances are that he'll get filleted by Alexander Usyk. But for some reason, my feeling is if they brought Usyk to the UK, I think I think 40,000 would turn out to see Derek say goodbye.
Hmm.
You know, maybe even 60. You know,
Talking of stadium fights and whatnot, we know that Frank Warren has been saying that Dubois will headline a stadium in the summertime in the UK. Obviously, away from Usyk and with Anthony Joshua being injured and probably won't be able to fit the time frame for Dubois' next fight. Can you think of any other name that would sell out a stadium with Dubois at the moment?
Well, I mean, you could say Parker, but it's. I don't think that fight's going to happen. I don't think Dubois and Parker is going to happen, even though most people would like it to happen, because you're going to bring two belts together, and then when they eventually fight, the winner of that fight, Usyk, will be for the undisputed. Can I see anyone else? Well, the Joshua rematch. Anyone Joshua fights. If Joshua fights Parker now, it's a big fight. And that's been murmured about in the last few days as well. And I've been asked my opinion on that. I wouldn't mind Joshua and Parker fighting, but my feeling at the moment is, I think I'd like to see, Deontay Wilder get through his fanboy fight. But in my view, this is what I would like to see: get through his fanboy fight against Tyrell Herndon, which I think he will discover whether he can still pull the trigger or not. And then if he can, I'd still like to see Wilder and Joshua. There's a lot of openings in the heavyweight division to match people up for the next 6 to 8 months at the moment.
We'll come on to Deontay Wilder shortly.
We don't know how it's going to play out right
Yeah.
now. I mean, in the background, there's a power struggle going on, and I think there's an anticipation of whether the Saudi Arabians and Turkey al-Sheikh want Usyk and Dubois either in Riyadh. This is my understanding of it, not through speaking to people, but seeing what the scenario is. I mean, Frank Warren, I haven't spoken to for a couple of weeks, and he was telling me that this was a week after Dubois didn't fight Parker, that he wants to do Dubois against Usyk. That was before the belt changes, the mandatories came in, either in the UK or Riyadh in summertime, June, July. I still think they're waiting on, I don't mean funding, but whether Turkey al-Sheikh and the Saudis are going to get behind that fight. And if they're not, then I think they run it out in the UK at Wembley. It's big enough for Wembley. Usyk's very popular. What's this, his 5th Brit, 6th Brit? Something like that. So that's what I think is going on. But in the meantime, there's a wrangling of sorts for Parker to get the Usyk fight as well, because he deserves it just as much.
Putting all sentimental value to the side, does Derek Chisora deserve a world title shot?
As I just said to you, had you been listening, and I hope you listen on the day of your driving test, otherwise don't turn right when he asks you to turn left, yeah? Because that's a fail. As I said, if Anthony Joshua had knocked out, if Anthony Joshua had knocked out or defeated Joe Joyce and knocked him down towards the end of the fight and won a close decision and beaten up Otto Wallin and knocked him down a couple of times, hit him right across the ring, people will be saying, yeah, Anthony Joshua deserves a world title shot. So why shouldn't Derek Chisora deserve a world title shot? It's got nothing to do with sentimentality. I'm more concerned about his health in the long term. You know, and I was joking about the haircut and all that. We don't want to see him. I don't want to see him in with Anthony Joshua. I don't want to see him in with Daniel Dubois. I don't want to see him in against blunderbusses with massive hocks that are going to knock him out. So, yeah, I wouldn't argue with him fighting Usyk. I really wouldn't.
We know that obviously Usyk versus Dubois is being spoken about, and there is heavy rumours that that could go down. What do you believe the IBF will do in this position with another undisputed fight being discussed?
Well, they can't do undisputed because Parker will have the WBO, and unless there's some kind of shenanigans goes on in the background or deals go on in the background. But my understanding at the moment is it won't be an undisputed. How can it be undisputed if Usyk was ordered to defend it by, what was it, the end of this month? Or make a decision by the, I mean, yes, end of this month, April 30, isn't it? You know?
Yes.
So, look, the belts are fractured again. That's what's happened. And this all came about from Daniel Dubois being ill. in Riyadh on February the 20th, because we'd have got that fight, and then we'd have the winner of that would definitely been facing Usyk. As it happens now, we've got Joshua and Fury almost in abeyance at the moment, in limbo. Ajegba and Bakoli fighting in May, not far off now on the undercard of Canelo and William Skull. Fabio Wardley, I think they're going to announce his fight on Monday. It's going to be in an East Anglian football grounds, near where he's from and who he supports, against a massive name American, my understanding is. I'll let them reveal it on Monday. Who else is tight? Well, and then what we do with 1, 2, 3, 4. Zhang, was probably taking a rest at the moment. Hrgovic is fighting Joyce. Great opportunity for Joyce if he can beat Hrgovic, who I think is number 8 in the world. And apart from that, it's tic-tac-toe. Usyk's the champion. Fury's out at the moment. What do you do with, and I think it's this order, Dubois, Parker and Kabayel? But someone needs to sort it out. Spencer Brown manages both Kabayel and Parker. I think the easy solution would be to put Dubois in with Parker, but Frank Warren won't agree with me on that.
Well,
and then put Chisora in with Usyk.
Well, it's an interesting period for the heavyweight division. Just talking on Deontay Wilder, a comeback fight announced for June 27th against Terrell Herndon. What do you hope to see from the Bronze Bomber?
A knockout, a big, heavy knockout, and then a call out of Anthony Joshua. Because would you not still want to see that fight if he knocks out Herndon?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure at the moment. Just given the fact that he is getting on a bit now, I think, if in my opinion, again, I said this yesterday on the Seconds Out live show, I'd rather see Wilder go and take 2 or 3 of these types of fights before looking at getting into these big fights.
He hasn't got that long left, Josh. I think if he looks impressive, you put him back in with the Joshua and we get that fight. And Joshua's coming off a loss. Wilder's coming off 2 horrible losses and a decent win. And it's just a fight against each other for the era. Simple as that. You know, I mean, look, it's not the big earner it's not the $50 million earner that it was 6 years ago, 7 years ago even. You know, look, we're halfway through the decade, incredibly. You know, you're out of shorts and into long trousers now and nearly driving. So, you know, look what's happened in that time, you know?
Exactly. Would you like to have seen Deontay Wilder retire after the Zhang fight?
No, because he's not ready to. He believes there's something in there. We'll see it against Herndon, whether there's anything there. We'll see it in his timing and his rhythm. You know, Herndon, what is he, 24-5, but he's a bit of a fanboy of Deontay Wilder. That's the problem. And look, we know what this is. It's a home fighter being set up to go out there and wreak destruction and create a viral moment. I like Deontay. I get on very well with him, always have done, apart from when he went into my face and screamed a load of things at me once. But I think he was only doing it because he'd seen me pallying with Tyson Fury at the time. You tell your friend, all this kind of stuff. But no, I don't want to be down on him. I don't want to be down on him just to give you a headline.
Fair enough. Wilder has said that a fight with AJ won't happen this year, but is a very big possibility for 2026. I guess from what you said, I guess you still have a lot of interest in that fight.
I think they should try and make it this year, in my view. Look, if the money's on the table, so he's maybe looking at, like you say, a couple of fights then in that case this year to get on the comeback trail, and he wants Joshua to get on the winning trail again. But, you know, for me, Joshua's only got probably 3 fights left. He's not going to fight Chisora. He's very unlikely to fight Usyk again, in my view. Tyson Fury, a rematch with Daniel Dubois potentially, and Deontay Wilder. And I would do, I mean, if Fury wanted to fight again, he should take Fury in a heartbeat because that's still an enormous commercial entity as an event. Then Wilder, then Dubois, or even just avoid Dubois altogether.
Sure.
And I don't agree that was being said earlier this week on Talk Sport that Joshua should now change teams as well, training teams. I think it's ludicrous.
Fair enough. Just the last two from me. We saw a clip from TalkSport with Liam Cameron, where he claimed that himself and Ben Whittaker have signed 12-round contracts to fight each other, but Boxer would now like to do a 10-rounder instead, with Liam Cameron and his team refusing to budge, and it's leaving the fight in jeopardy. What are your thoughts on this ongoing situation with Cameron and Ben Whittaker?
Is there a belt on the line?
I don't believe so. I've not
Oh,
seen.
it doesn't matter then. It doesn't matter. It's just fight it anyway. You don't get paid for more rounds. He obviously feels that he wants to take the fight into the later rounds, into the championship rounds, so to speak, rounds 11 and 12. He's fully entitled to that view. If they're changing contracts on him, then well, that's unfair on him. I haven't seen the contracts, of course. It might have been a verbal agreement to do 12 rounds, and then contractually it's been 10. Liam produced something very good in Riyadh. Ben needs to produce an even better thing this time out. He got bested in a couple of three of those five rounds, wasn't it? And he really needs to prove himself. It is a talking point. It's made more interest in the fight. I'm going to be there on Easter Sunday. Can't wait for it. Resorts World Birmingham, one of my favourite world venues. And yeah, I mean, look, it shouldn't bother Cameron either way, but I think he's probably right in as much as the longer he takes the fight, the better it is for him. But yeah, well, I mean, I think more details will emerge. I haven't rung Ben Shalom or the Whittaker team to ask them about that, but I imagine it's because Cameron wants to take it late and make it a war, and press Ben to the wire. But I think he'll be fast and sharp this time, and I think we might see some power from him. But don't write off Liam Cameron. He's got an incredible narrative and backstory and something to prove in life, because he's a champion already.
Absolutely. Just last one from me. Crocker versus Donovan 2 has been ordered by the IBF now, following the controversial disqualification defeat for Paddy Donovan. Do you feel the IBF have made the right move here?
They've absolutely made the right move, because how could Donovan, just about to be defeated, snatch victory from the jaws of defeat by a refereeing decision that propels him into a world title shot? I don't agree with it. I think the IBF have done the right thing. Paddy has got a lifeline here. Marcus McDonnell is vindicated in a way because he made a decision. I like it when rematches are ordered for the right reasons. I think it makes it a bigger fight. The fighters will earn more money. There'll be more controversy going into it. There'll be more talk going into it. They'll earn more money. It's a bigger event. I'm down with it. I'm down with it, Josh. Like you're down with the driving instructor.
Absolutely. Gareth, I think it's a perfect place to leave it for today. Thank you very much for your time as always, especially when you're sat in a restaurant in Heathrow. I'll let you go now and get ready to board your flight to America.
Yeah, and there's only one thing left for you to say: safe travels.
Safe travels to you, Gareth. Thank
Cheers,
you.
thanks, buddy. Always great to see you.